Now that we have our files all combined into one large file, we have one step that we have to do before we can export this file and begin our data visualization, and that is to compute our 5-year averages for each of our AGI and age categories. And this can, again, get a little bit involved as we've had with some of our other formulas that we've had to use. So I've created a Word document to help me out with the naming conventions to make it a little bit faster. We're going to move back to the preparation menu and we're going to select the formula tool off of the preparation menu. Now there's a variety of ways in Alteryx that you can compute averages, but since we're learning the formula tool, we'll go ahead and do so using the formula tool. And what we need to do is we need to tell it what we're going to do. And even though we had 143 fields when we finished our join, we're going to add additional columns for our 5-year averages. And this is where the Word document is going to help us out. As you can see, again, you can use the Control, Find, Replace function in Word to go ahead and make the naming convention a little bit easier for each of these. So we can go ahead and select this, copy it, add it to our column name, and then we can compute our averages. We can do so either by using the preformed function tool or we can type in. I'll start with the preformed function tool, and we're going to go down to math and we're going to select average, and then we can start typing in the names that we want to compute averages on. So for the first one, we're going to be doing the returns for all ages. So we want to go ahead and select all ages returns for each of these years. As you can see, I'm putting a comma between each one of these years. That is necessary to keep the average going, the average function going. And when you're done, make sure that we see our data preview, but make sure that you also change the data type to double. Once you've finished your first formula, go ahead and again, we can just minimize both sides so that we can see both at the same time. We can go ahead and add another column to compute this time the average for our exemptions. So we use the formula tool first. I'll demonstrate now how we can just type in AV gets us 2 averages. And now we're going to do our AA and we're going to repeat the process, remembering to put in a comma for each one of the years of computing the average for our exemptions. And now that we have them, again, we get our preview, and we're going to want to make sure that we change our type to double. So going ahead and doing this for the beginning year AGI. We'll again demonstrate this using the function formula. We're going down to math, and we're selecting average off of this formula. We can then go ahead and type in our AA beginning year for 11-12 and identify it for each of the years, remembering to place a comma in between each one of our years. And then we remember to change our type to double. We can then scroll down a little bit further to get our new column. We have our column heading over here. And now, again, we're going to demonstrate this using the typing in. So I'm going to type in AV, I get the average function, and now I can start doing the averages by year for the ending AGI. I'm going to go ahead and continue to add in all of the averages that we're going to need, and you'll be able to see what it is that I'm doing, but I'm going to do the same thing that I've done when I have a lot of other formulas to add in, where I speed up the process of showing this so that you can see what's going on, but you're not going to have any verbal input from me after this point. Now that we have all the formulas entered for each of the categories of data that we wanted for the 5-year averages, the last thing that we need to do is we need to export this file to Excel. To do so, we're going to move to the In-Out menu, which is right next to the Preparation menu. And then we're going to go ahead and select the Output Data file, and we're going to drag that onto our canvas, attaching it to the last formula tool that we used. Similar to when we brought the file in, we just need to configure this tool by telling it where it is that we'd like it to save. So we can go ahead and select Files, select the file place that we'd like it to save at, and then we can name it Combined Gross Migration File. And then we can go ahead and save. But we have a little bit more, tell it what kind of file to save it as. We don't want to save it as an all data file. We'd like to save it as a Microsoft Excel file, or XLSX. So we can go ahead and save. It'll ask us if we want to name the worksheet. We don't want to. And then the last output option that we want to do is we want to tell it to, by this drop-down menu, go ahead and overwrite any files that are existing. This will allow us to run the workflow multiple times without having to worry about it erroring out as we're trying to write this out to an Excel file. So once you have this appropriately configured, you can go ahead and click Run. If you go to the file where you asked it to save, you should now see the large spreadsheet that has all of the data for the AGI and age categories.